finding out about how the land being tied with women, the importance of that, um, understanding the whole communal aspect actually explains to me, as a people, why we're the way we are. When we look at how we call other people our play cousins, and how, we kind of
Mm-hmm.
look out for each other, how, we talk about when we were kids, how this one will beat your butt and then that one beat your butt and send you home. The whole village concept, the whole communal concept, it all makes so much sense now. So that was very unique and interesting to find out. Tying my grandfather's service records, um, that's been powerful, because having the conversation that I've had to have with my parents and some of my other family members have been interesting. They brought up different emotions that I would have never even thought were even there. Especially with my mom. My mom being a retired commander, super, super non-emotional, super tough. Um, I didn't get all my questions answered right away. It was like opening up a wound when I kind of went to her to get some answers and to try to navigate. So she really wouldn't give me much, and obviously I was scraping over a scab. And so, as I dug in and got a little bit more and was able to give her some of the facts, it seemed to be kind of restorative and maybe a little bit healing for her. As I was able to kind of give some facts, it seemed like it opened up a little bit more. But it was interesting finding some things out, and being able to be a legacy changer for my family.
Okay. What's the one thing you wish you would have known right after break going into doing your genealogy? What's something you wish you would have known that would have made the process a little bit easier?
Um, I wish I would have known my own history better, and then um, understand how that correlates with the quote unquote history we've been taught.
Right.
So I think that if I knew my own history better, I could see, the fallacies in the history that we were taught. And then obviously I would know how to navigate through some of these other things. But um, I'm fine with God's timing and where I'm at now.
Right. Okay, I'm showing it that this is stopped again. Can anybody confirm?
Yeah, it has stopped. However, it's being recorded.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we're gonna repost.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool beans. So, okay. Now, going through your genealogy, is there anything, especially talking about your grandfather's service records, or anything in there that you did know that you glad you know, or something that you may have thought that you knew that was confirmed?
Definitely, it was good to know the region. It was good to know, like everything we've ever heard about where they grew up, the area, all that's been confirmed. So that was really good. That was good.
Okay. So obviously you're still doing your genealogy, and you're still looking to get further back, especially past 1850s on your mother's side. Is there anything are there any stumbling blocks that you've come across that you might need some help with?
Yeah, so my grandmother was adopted. So like we literally, but not traditionally adopted. She was just taken and given. So what we knew her as and what her real name is, we found out in 1990, her real name. And so we can't really get anything from, we can't get anything about her. That's been really the saddest, because she recently died about 6 years ago, and pretty much her entire life we've always been trying to get something, and we kind of get a little bit here, a little bit there. At one point we did find one of her brothers, but at that point, and this was like in the 80s, and when we did find her brother, he was much older and had Alzheimer's. So we could only get a little bit of information from his wife. So it seems like everywhere we've gone, but it's okay. I think we'll get, what we're supposed to get. My great grandfather was Jewish, and they did do a book about him. So we have that, and we can kind of, he used to be the caretaker of the Hamilton Museum. And so we have that history. And so we just kind of go from there. But this has been, this is something that I feel like should be in the classroom.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because what it does is it allows people to know exactly who they are. But see, if they did it in the classroom, it would change how history was taught.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and from what I'm understanding as I learn my own history and the history that's being taught, and this is my soapbox, but so I understand that my views may be different from a Tajinist assembly, but school system to some degree is just creating employees. They're just creating good citizens to understand how to be employees, and just giving them just enough history, just enough this, just enough that to be good, obedient employees. But when you really touch into who you are, number one, it's liberating. And number two, it just helps you understand why you're wired the way you are, why you have the passion the way you are. And then you have the energy to go and pursue that. But if you're pushed into a box to learn how to just be an employee, it's not going to complement that form of thinking.
Awesome. Okay.
Facts. The views and statements of Afua Jones do not reflect A2, but no sellout does agree. I definitely agree.
And so does free. And having said that, the end of the etymology for education says originally of instruction in social codes and manners, meaning systematic schooling and training for work, is from 1610s. Timelines. So
Timelines. Come on with it.
So you're absolutely correct. Okay.
that's why we got to get it right. And if not us, then who?
Exactly.
And that, I mean us as a community.
Yes.
Sorry, I mean step over me like that. Free. Quick question: does anybody on the panel have a question they would like to ask Afua in reference to the genealogy and her journey thus far?
I'm personally enjoying the story, so I'm all ears, like Basset Hounds.
Now, you said, Afua, that your husband is originally from Virginia area.
My husband's originally from New York,
Okay.
but his family, both mom and dad, are from Lawrenceville, Virginia, and and their family, so they've all been in the same place, little Cherokee area. So, and he did start his, but I really don't have all the facts, so I don't want to speak on it. But he did confirm that he has Indian in his family. So
why we get that song with the Indian in the family?
Yes.
She cutting up like we cut up.
All right.
So
it's
we
Friday.
feathery over here. We feathery.
Now, so both of y'all basically grew up in New York. Was there any talk or any mention of Indian in your community when you was growing up?
Not at all. I mean, if you had good hair, quote unquote, then and I hate to sound like a stereotype, but really to that extent, that was it.
I think to me, that's how a lot of conversations came up back in the day for anybody talking to Indian in their family. It was the hair, but that not always is a telltale sign. It's like going off skin tone now. So, but it's
Right.
true. That's what sparked a lot of conversation when I was young about being Indian. I got Indian in my family. I got good hair. I got light eyes.
But somehow, and I apologize, but somehow what the difference I think between my husband and I is like we joked in my family, but in his family they were very serious. So like when when he would talk with me about it, I would joke. But when I got around his other family and I would see how serious they were about it, of course, that just made me joke even more. But I was like, they were serious with it. Like they was naming names and tribes and carrying on. And I was like, oh my gosh, y'all took this and ran with it. But that was the first time my eyes ever opened up. And he would just always say, you're going to see. And he never he always held his ground about it. So when Thomas came with that, and I came home, was like, "Baby, we got to get an Indian card," he fell out. I mean, it was the source of conversation for a good minute, So yeah.
Okay, that's awesome, man. So what we're gonna do? Well, let's hear from you. What has been your experience?
I haven't had a chance to do the genealogy, but I think it's really nice hearing my mom talk about, her history, because then that kind of sheds light on who I am as well. Like if she knows where she comes from and who she is, and that kind of, it doesn't necessarily confirm it fully, but it kind of opens up doors like, okay, this is what I'm presented with. This is what we could be. And then it kind of like sheds light on it, because like, for example, with her grandmother, none of us know who she is,
Right.
and things like that. So being able to find out, different things like that would really, really be nice. So I can tell people, this is what I am, I'm Jayla Jones and I'm this, it'd be really nice to. So I really like that, her finding it out, and my dad as well, them finding it out will help, even if we don't get the chance to find out for ourselves. If we know what they are and who they come from, then that, that tells us who we are as well.
Yeah, because what it does, it makes your job that much easier.
Yeah.
You don't have to go up the tree.
Yep.
You just make sure you continue the legacy to go out with your children and things of that nature, which will make it be easy, which what we're supposed to be doing anyway, making it easy for the next 7 generations. So I just wanted to get your perspective on that, because it's rare that we get to hear from the children whose parents are actually doing the genealogy. So we definitely appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
We definitely appreciate your input. So does anybody have any more questions about genealogy before we transition on to the nonprofit and the HUD Section 3 section?
I just really appreciate the perspectives from both parties. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
I appreciate how positive you all sound. And I know there are frustrations in genealogy and searching, your lineage and going through the family tree, but positivity is always great and grand. So peace to y'all for that.
And thank you. And one thing I will add for your audience, a very, very important point I do want to make. There's a bunch of instructions, and I know a Tajidist assembly will help you all understand. But one key point that you guys said, which I thought was very helpful, was work on it at 15-minute intervals at a time. That was really helpful to go into it doing that, because otherwise you will tear your hair out, you'll get frustrated, and then you really don't know what emotions are going to come up when you're doing this. And so I did stick to that. I did stick to the 15-minute, because I was having a couple mind blown moments, and and I didn't know that my parents were going to respond the way that they did. And so I did need to keep I did need to stick to the 15-minute each time, because it does bring up a rush of emotions and a lot of different stuff. And I actually attribute that to why I was able to get as far as I did, because I did stick to that 15-minute time each time that I did it.
All I can say is thank you for trusting the process and following it through and showing people that it can be done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Exactly. So now we're going to transition into the HUD Section 3 and the nonprofit Afro Encourages. So how about we do this? After when you get an opportunity, tell us a little bit about how your nonprofit got set up and what your purpose is, and then you can let your daughter go ahead and say what her job description is.
Okay. So I guess now that it's all coming together and I'm actually sitting here talking about it, I think I'm just a funny story all the way around. And so what happened is the Lord impressed upon me about 2 years ago that I should start a nonprofit. And it was, if you, the spirit recognizes the spirit. So if you understand that, then you would know a heavenly burden that goes into your spirit. So I just had this burden to start a nonprofit. And it seemed like at the time, everything that I was doing kept coming back to, you need to start a nonprofit. So I just finished writing a book, and I was meeting with this guy that was helping me prepare for my second book. And he said, had you thought about ever starting a nonprofit? You could put your books under your nonprofit. And I said, no, I hadn't thought about that. And then there was a couple other instances where things happened where someone said, have you ever thought about a nonprofit? And it just nagged at me in my spirit. And then I kept having these quote unquote coincidences or happenstances where somebody would talk to me about a nonprofit. And then, so I have a family business called Family Finance Fix. That's familyfinancefix.com, where we restore credit. And I had someone reach out to me in a grant writing group that asked me to come and speak to this big group where they were going to have political dignitaries there, like all of these different people. And they were in Orlando, Florida. And she couldn't cover my airfare, but she really wanted me to be the person there. And so I said, hey, I'll come. I'll cover my own airfare. I'll come and I'll speak and I'll do everything. Can you help me set up a nonprofit? That we'll just barter those services. So she's like, yeah. So still didn't even know what it would be called. But I had started doing a blog, and I started a Facebook group called AFWA Encourages, and I just set up a website and was just blogging and encouraging people, sharing the word. And so went there, and we literally sat in a restaurant, and she said, okay, what are we going to call it? I said, I don't know. I just know that I've got to start a nonprofit. And so she said, well, just give me some name. I said, okay, AFWA Encourages. And that's how AFWA Encourages came about, because I was doing the blog, AFWA Encourages. And then she said, okay, she just asked me a bunch of questions. And I said, well, I think it should fall under spiritual, religious, so I could, definitely share my faith, self-help, only because the other author that I dealt with, he told me that when I get my nonprofit that you should have self-help, and education, because I have a son that has club foot, and I wanted to be able to somehow do something with that later on with parents. So I knew that, didn't know how I was going to do anything, but I knew I wanted to cover those things. So she literally took care of all my paperwork, did everything. I had no idea what she was even doing. She just took care of everything done. Okay. So that's how we got started. Never shelved it, never did anything with it, just put my paperwork up. Then a year and a half later comes along Mr. Thomas here, and I'm going there for business development for my credit repair business. And I'm starting to hear about HUD-3 and the importance of having a nonprofit and community and all of this stuff. So I'm like, wow, this kind of ties. And so, of course, Thomas and I are still getting to know each other. And so, I'm like, I'm a boisterous person, really outgoing. So I'm like, hey, I got a nonprofit. So in my mind, I said, I know he probably thinks I'm lying. He probably thinks, okay, she's just saying this stuff because I'm talking, but I did. And so I just never knew what to really do with it, but I knew that I was obedient to the spirit, if I could just point that out. So I was obedient in what the Lord told me to do, but I didn't know what to do. And so when it's his stuff, he will make provision for the vision. Let me just make that clear. And so as I began to share with Thomas, and he started looking stuff up, and he's like, you already have your determination letter. I was like, still not even knowing what that meant. And he's looking at me like, do you even understand what you have? No. And that's how I got under his mentorship, which I'm extremely grateful for. And he just began to break it down. And he's like, honey, you are ready to rock. And so I've just really began to follow you guys' guidance on what I should do and start taking steps. And so I think that was maybe the end of March, maybe like the beginning of April of this year, when all of that started. So to date, where we're at, So Thomas was able to help me with my 990 form, which, if you're not familiar with all of that stuff, please definitely reach out to Autogenous Assembly and let them help you with that. He was able to help me understand what I needed to add to my board, what changes. So I had the structure, but I needed to have some things redone. And so that's where you guys' expertise and resources really came into play. So everything he's asked me to do, I made sure that I did it right away. So to date, to give you an update of where we're at to date, about a month ago, actually September 2nd, exactly 1 month ago, I went to my county complex building and I spoke at their citizens time for free, which we can all do for 3 minutes. And I introduced, you can talk about whatever you want during citizens time. You could read a nursery rhyme if you wanted to. Literally, you could during that 3 minutes. So I chose, for my 3 minutes, I chose to introduce AFWA Encourages to my community. I chose to talk about what my nonprofit does, what we are in need of, and that. But what I did, if I could just backtrack for a quick second, what I did was, being the prompt young woman that I am, I got there early and I went and spoke to one of the security guards while I was there and just introduced myself and said what I was doing and just like, what do you know? I don't know what I don't know. So who do you know here? And he literally handed me the guy that I needed to talk to on a silver platter. He's like, this is who you need to talk to. And so I said, okay. I said, well, can you give me a quick idea of what the protocol is to go in and read and, and because they televise it on the local cable channel. So he gave me a quick little, idea of what to do with that. And so I went and did that. And then I had a lady come up to me and it's like, hey, I see you're new here. If there's anything you need. So I reached out to her and I told her who I was trying to connect with. Got a meeting with that gentleman who is the director of HUD, if you will, or housing for my entire county. I was able to get that meeting, which Thomas was able to actually come with me to that meeting. And from that meeting, he was able to send me over to another HUD approved housing agency. So my nonprofit, among other things, one of the main things that we do is we teach financial literacy. So he was able to get me connected with who I needed with that. So I met with that guy yesterday. He has already allowed me to affiliate with his nonprofit. I've already scheduled with VHDA to do the Train the Trainer, which only costs $15. Once I have that, then I can tap into their funds through my affiliation with him, which is going to yield about $10,000. And then there's another organization. This woman has gotten hundreds of millions of dollars nationwide from HUD to do financial literacy and all other housing related things. I've tapped into her to become an affiliate partner with her. So literally the funds should be getting ready to come in very quickly, very soon, for us to go forth with our mission for our community. And so one of the reasons that Jayla Faith Jones is here is because she is the youth director for AFWA Encourages. So outside of financial literacy, we have a couple of initiatives that we're doing for our young folks. And one of them is an etiquette initiative, teaching etiquette and soft skills meaning social skills, because in this day and time, with all of the technology, kids don't even know how to talk to one another outside of texting and that kind of stuff. So one of our initiatives requires where we teach social graces, netiquette, in other words, how they should be presenting themselves appropriately online, etiquette, the fine art of handwriting notes, teaching how to fill out money orders, how to fill out applications for student loans, and just a whole resume writing, just a whole series of events and activities that we like to do with the young folk. You can find out more about our program at imencouraged.org. But Jayla spearheads that, and these are activities she herself has gone through. And so she's going to go forward and share that with other young folks. So she can tell you a little bit more about. You want to talk about?
Yes. So, like she said, a couple of the things, for example, like filling out applications. When I was in my senior year of high school, we had to fill out college applications. Some students are filling out applications for student loans. And the big one that is extremely stressful for a lot of high school students is the FAFSA. I had so many different resources and so many people to help me, but I know I knew a lot of people around me who didn't have that, who didn't have the resources, who didn't have the family structure at home to help them. They were doing a lot of things on their own. And if you've filled out the FAFSA, then it is a beast to tackle. It's extremely stressful. It's extremely, tedious, a lot of steps, a lot of paperwork that a lot of kids, I didn't know. I didn't know what certain tax forms looked like, or what, I didn't know what tax information I needed. And there were so many different documents and words and things I just didn't know. So it was a learning process. And now that I've gone through it, I want to help, my community and help kids around me, the youth around me, to fill out applications and things like that, because I know it can be extremely, stressful to the point where you're like, I don't want to do it. And I don't want, students to be discouraged because of that, because they don't have the resources that they need to help them. So that's probably the biggest thing, my biggest project that I really want to work on, is to help the youth with filling out, like, even if it's just job applications, college, things along those lines, because they can be, if you don't have the right resources, if you don't have the right team behind you to help you, to talk you through it, it can be extremely stressful and extremely discouraging, so I think doing that for our community, for me, would be the most fulfilling.
Okay. So is there anything else that you're going to be in charge of doing in addition to that?
Just kind of being my mom's right hand man, with helping with planning events. Right now I help her, write up certain documents. I answer her phones, things like that. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be in charge of. But my main projects will be, helping the youth with, like my mom said, the applications and things like that. Resumes is a huge, huge one that we want to help with. I know when I was in high school, I knew so many people that did not have a resume, didn't know what a resume was, and thanks to my lovely mother here, I had, dare I say, a phenomenal resume, because she explained to me at a very young age. I had a resume at like 13. She explained to me how important it is to start putting stuff on it, even if it's just volunteer work or whatever you're doing, put it on your resume. So that's like some of the big things that I'm going to be working on.
Thank you for sharing. We definitely appreciate it, and definitely thank you for your time. We got to get ready to head out, but thank you.
Of course,
we look
thank
forward
you.
We look forward to hearing some more great things about what you're doing with Afro Encouragement.
I look forward to speaking about it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So Afro, let me ask you this question. When we had a conversation about the nonprofit, and you got introduced to the Auchtoctones Assembly, and we were talking about the USDA, we was talking about the HUD free, we was talking about doing stuff for the community. What was your initial thought? What was the initial thought that was running through your head when you first heard about this stuff, before you knew anything, before you saw anything bear fruit?
Well, to be quite honest with you, my initial thought probably is going to be different from other people, because I had already been dealing with you for business development.
Right.
And because I had already been dealing with you on business development, there was a trust level there. One of the things that I've been most impressed about from you personally and from Autogenous Assembly in general is the willingness to share information and the willingness to help. And I say that because I've been an entrepreneur my entire life.
Right.
And even when I didn't know what an entrepreneur was, the spirit inside of me was always, I needed to do this. I mean, I was 10 years old being a little candy lady. And so, and always has, that it's just, that's when it started, and it's always been that way. But in this entrepreneurship journey, I've gotten so far, and sometimes, you'll always hear me say, you don't know what you don't know. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times people can see your strength and your potential before you do. And I know that all too well. So many times I've run into, I'll get so far or maybe even past whatever somebody that's helping me, and then there's a wall. Then nobody wants to help you again. That you're a threat, so to speak. I'm not even say hater, because I think people just throw that around too haphazardly. Just a threat. And so I've always kind of had that happen to me a lot. And I can count on one hand how many times I can't count how many times that has happened, because that's happened so many times, but I can count on one hand with fingers left how many times I've had people help me and that didn't happen. And you're one of those. In 20 years, you're one of those, and I still have fingers left. And I say that with sincerity and seriousness, because that's how I always know who's really willing, because my mindset has always been, my only competition is me. I'm not looking at what other people are doing, because what God has for me is for me. So I'm trying to go get what's mine. I'm not worried about, what's for, I'm not threatened by what other people have. In fact, if you get it before me, can you show me how to get it? Like, I'm not mad at that. And so I'm really grateful when I have people come along and be like, you know what, boo, I see your strength. Let's go get this. Like, it invigorates. It should inspire you. It should encourage you. It shouldn't make you side-eye me. And so because I had that personal experience, and I can probably hide behind my smile a lot, but I really am sizing you up. And so, because I had that personal experience, I was looking for that.
Right.
And when I saw, okay, there's some transparency here. When I had the full understanding about the nonprofit and everything, my thought at that point was hope. Okay. That's the best way I can describe it. I then knew my vision was going to come forward. I got it then, because it felt like there was some resources, there was hope there.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.
Are there any questions from the panel for Afua, about Afua Encourages, or about the her Section 3 process that she's currently going through, or some of the successes that she's had, or some of the not so successes that she's had?
I'm really inspired. I love Afua's strength and her sense of diligence, and she's so meticulous in everything. And I really admire that, because I'm the same way, just really detail oriented. So I really respect that. And your daughter is absolutely amazing. If she is not like a younger version of you, like, it's just so neat to see that energy experience with Pete and repeat. It's just beautiful. So for everything that you're doing and everything that you will do, because again, this is the tip of the iceberg, I salute you, sis. I really do. And like I told you many times before, I look forward to being there for every single celebration, just to celebrate you, because you taking the time. I appreciate that. You've taken the time to actually put boots to the ground, to actually put the work in, to really create real change. I mean, tactile change is amazing and beautiful in a time when people love lip service. So please continue to do what you do like only you can do it. And like I said, I celebrate you, and anything that I can do to help you, I'm here for you. And that goes for the community as well. We got to get this right. Want to do
I
it
will
together.
definitely take you up on that, because I'm constantly being inspired as I learn more. I am definitely, and God couldn't have set everything up more perfect, because my tagline I created is encouragement in action, and that's exactly what we are. I am not a sit still person, and so I'm like, my mind's already going with some initiatives. So I literally have to slow myself down. I have to I have to, like when I left my meeting last night, it was so productive that I had to get everything out and then force myself to decompress, like force myself to put everything up so that I could just start fresh today. And so this is just, yeah, it's so much to do, but I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited. And I'm just amazed at how far, like, I'm probably going to get money before the end of this year. I'm amazed at how far I've gotten so far. Amazed, amazed. So one of the other things that Autogenous Assembly helped me do was get listed with HUD 3 Business Directory, which is free, guys. So please take this direction. And let me tell you why that's huge. Because when I did meet with the director, which one of the other things that Autogenous Assembly had me do was they suggested that I put together some type of presentation about my organization, which I thought was extremely smart, because people are such visual people. I was actually able to put something together that literally painted the picture to show my sweat equity. So of course, the first couple of slides was my information, but then the more than half of the PowerPoint presentation was AFWA encourages encouragement in action, showing what we've actually done. And that served me very well, because he was extremely impressed with that. And the other thing that I was going to point out about the PowerPoint presentation, oh man, it just left me. Oh shoot. The business directory. The reason why I wanted to bring that up is because prior to him meeting with us, he obviously went to HUD and looked up to see if I was there. And I was, and this was something that didn't even take 5 minutes to do. Now, Thomas had to walk me through it, because I was a little nervous. Again, you don't know what you don't know. So I did not, this is why mentorship is so important. I didn't want to collect, obviously I can read and write and I can check the boxes, but this is new to me. So this is a new space for me. So I wanted to just have a little, I was like a newborn calf, legs was a little wobbly. So I just wanted to have a little hand holding to make sure that I checked all the correct boxes, but which I did. Didn't take more than 5 minutes to do all of that. But it served me well, because now when serious partners are looking to fund me, they can see, okay, this woman has taken the steps to register her business. It legitimizes you. So just little things like that are important. And these are things that Autogenous Assembly has helped me do, which I would not have known to do.
Okay. Does anybody else on the panel have any other questions for Afua Jones? Okay. Afua, one last question. When it comes to the community that's going to be listening to this, majority of the people don't know us. They don't know you. They're in probably similar situation, going through the genealogy, trying to determine whether or not, if going through the process of signing up, starting a business, getting a nonprofit, if it's actually worth it for them. Should they even do it? Is it worth reaching out to their community, or even going into their community and even getting involved? What would you say to people that may have some questions based around it when it comes to your experience?
My experience, well, I'll defer back to my sister Free. One of the comments that she made was she was enjoying the energy and the excitement. Well, that comes from a place of passion. So if you're passionate about what you want to do, absolutely that's the correct thing to do, because leap, the net will appear. That's what I would say to that. that's exactly what I did. And God has rewarded my obedience by connecting me with all of he will give provision for the vision. So everything that I've needed, yes, I had to shelf it, but I didn't even know I was shelving it. So when his timing came about, he connected me with who I needed to be connected with. And now in a very short amount of time, we are a rolling nonprofit and nothing is going to stop us. So this has just been an amazing journey. It's been very fast, especially when you have, resources like Autochtonous Assembly that's trying to educate the community free. You have to take advantage of those things. And what I will also say to that question is, aside from feeling the freedom that I feel of walking in my truth, walking in my anointing, walking in my talent, I am also creating a legacy for my family, because my board of directors, my first set of board of directors, are my family members. I'm teaching my daughter. My daughter, like she said, is true. She had her first business card at 13. She had her first resume at 13. She went to her first congressional leadership conference for a week for young congressional leaders. She did that. She graduated high school with college credits. We have obviously put all of that into our children. So now I can pass that torch to her. She can take Afua Encourages, and she'll be able to do that. And my grandchildren will be able to do that. And their children will be able to this is a legacy that we're creating. This is the legacy that I want to leave for my family, to help our community. This is who we are. We are American Indians. We are proud, feathery American Indians who are communal, who the women kind of take the lead and navigate as we do. And so we're just continuing on tradition from our ancestors. And I am answering the call to that charge. And so what I would say is live your truth, live your passion, and you can certainly do that while you help other people and create a legacy for your family.
Beautiful.
Thank you for sharing. We thank you for taking time out your schedule. Thank you for bringing your daughter to give that perspective.
Thank you.
Because that was one of the things that you said. Can I bring my daughter so she can talk to, which brings a perspective that we normally don't hear. We don't normally hear from the children. So I definitely thank you for everything that you do. I thank you for listening. I thank you for being an example of what we always talk about. Because at the end of the day, the goal is to get people that are on YouTube or that are watching to go out into their community and do the work. It's cool to be online and talking and getting information. But like Bones always says, if you don't do the work, then what was the point of us coming on Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. and no one does anything? So we thank you for trusting in us enough to take the charge as we are walking down this road of financial independence together. So I want to say thank you again.
My God pleasure. And I can't say thank you enough to all of you guys. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to meeting you all soon. Get you up out of Texas. Come on to Virginia, Georgia, wherever y'all are at, come on. Danielle, you are just such an inspiration. You need to meet my Jayla. You need to mentor her, please. But you are just phenomenal at what you're doing with your nonprofit. And I mean, just a great leader, and just so honored to know you, all of you guys. And I just want to, if Afua can say anything, Afua wants to encourage you to keep going. So just thank you.
All right. Afua definitely encourages. Appreciate you, sis.
Thank you for everything that you have done, are doing, and will do. And this don't get mentioned a lot, but special respect for TMH for taking the time out of everything that you do to reach out, to take more time to help people. It takes a special individual that's willing to do that. And my brother, that is you.
Yes, we're always trying, and just so you guys know, I am always trying to find ways to honor him. I really am. but he doesn't make it easy. But I'm always trying to show him so much love, appreciation, and respect. You said a mouthful there. He is just very appreciative for his tireless efforts. And, however we can get you guys spotlighted, I definitely want to do that. I really feel like he needs some type of award for our community.
Well, at the end of the day, when you're surrounded by good people like yourself, for a great community, an awesome team like Auchtoctones Assembly, it makes my job easy. It makes it easier for me to go out here and do what I do. It makes it easier for me to give this community support, because everybody that's a part of Auchtoctones Assembly, that's what they do.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm just, when we do this, it's all of us doing it. But I definitely appreciate the nice, kind words. But as entrepreneurs, all we do is work, and we do it because we love it, not because it's something that we have to do. We do it, like you said, for the passion. We do it for the love. We do it for as Free always says, our 7 generations. And we got to get it right. And at the end of the day, if we don't, then who will? And having a great team, and I'm happy to be a part of Auchtoctones Assembly. Again, it just makes what I do that much more fun and that much easier. So I appreciate you guys.
Likewise, while we're having a mushy moment.
What's going on, mushy?
Enough of that sentimental stuff. Thank you, Afua. I appreciate you coming through. Thank you, Jayla. Appreciate you. And yeah, thank you, Thomas, I guess.
You just can't let him have it, can you?
Oh, I thought he had it already.
Thank you, TMA.
You still got it, right?
Do. We really appreciate you. We really do. Real talk.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, definitely a valuable asset, and you all can edit this part. But I was gonna say something earlier, but my eyeballs were suffering from condensation. So, but I appreciate you, Sister Afua, and I'm just gonna call her Afua Junior, because she is definitely.
If you guys know how many times a day we hear that. I mean, her mannerisms, everything. Everybody's like, that is you.
Yeah, cut from the same cloth. And I want to just these 3 things, and then I'm going to yield the mic again so I can call the plumber, see what's going on with my eyelids and my eyeballs here. It's sprung a leak. But I appreciate you, taking the time out and sharing your testimony with us. And we know, we tease Brother Thomas as well at times, but we know the things that he was doing even prior to all of us coming together. And I'm just one that I am a firm believer that things just don't happen just to be happening. Things are divinely inspired and directed. And so I appreciate the work that he has done and continuing to do and keep that going. The sister, I thank you for sharing the way you have been sharing and sharing with such zeal. Is that you share your faith, and a lot of people can share their faith and they're out there hanging out on the corner and they're yelling at you so much that they share their faith, but you share it with such fire, and you share your family, as you've done this afternoon, and that speaks volumes, because people can tell us, hey, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, I've done that, but with such conviction and such inspiration, and then sharing your family, because that's something that lets it's not, you're not just talking the talk, but you're actually walking it in you, because your daughter is there with you and she sees you, and the fact that you've inspired her at the times where you're not in public, so that lets the world know that things are possible. And you've given me a newfound hope, for Junior, because at one point I was just going to try to save as much money as I could and go live on the moon. But now, between you and La Presidente Danielle, there's hope for the next generation. Thank you. I yield the mic.
I totally.
1,000%.
What were you saying, Bones?
No, just agreeing with James 1,000%. that because of Danielle and Miss Alford Jr., it shows you that the younger generation, all you have to do is give them a chance, and they can do it. All we got to do is light the way, and it's going to get done. We do our part right, they're going to take care of the rest, just like our ancestors did for us. No sense in trying to reinvent no wheels around here.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, that's so profound. Thank you. That encourages my spirit even more with my children. So what you guys don't know is like we're a very tight knit family. Like, you know, my kids, everybody, they all know about Afro Encourage. Like my kids help me with my credit repair business. My kids know how to fax documents. They know how, if the phone's ringing and I'm not around, they know exactly what to say. My kids can tell you my whole sales pitch. They can say it. They know when they come around, if I'm saying certain stuff, okay, she's talking credit. They know. They know. And so I'm just, thank you for that, because I pride myself on my family. I pride myself on planting seeds, and number one, making sure that they all know the Lord, they have a relationship with the Lord, and that they understand, you know, about using their talents and being used of the Lord. That's of top importance for my husband and I. And so I appreciate that.
So I guess
and clearly that was for Miss Danielle's parents as well. Sorry.
No, you good.
I just wanted to make sure I said that.
Yeah. So I guess that's it. So next time, after we get some more updates, hopefully you and Miss Alford Jr.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. When we get that money, I'll be happy to come back and give an update.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, we thank you for all you do. We thank you for taking time out your schedule, and we look forward to seeing you on the Grand Rising Show. And we look forward to hearing some more updates.
Thank you, my American Indian family.
Thank you again, lady.
Thank y'all.
Keep up the excellent work.
All right, we're going on mute.
I'm already on mute.